Hello, I'm doing a new My Take On. I haven't been as active lately, I know that, but over the winter I fell again like the year before, so just didn't have the time or, feeling well enough to dwell on it too much. So I decided there's other things I wanted to do, but this one I thought would be a good one so that people understand what love is. This is 1 Corinthians 13:13, one of the more wisdom-like ones in Pauline scriptures. I'm reading from the New Living Translation, so you know what version I'm reading from. So there's minor differences in different versions. Anyway, and it's going to be the whole chapter of 13:13. Or no, not the whole chapter. I mean it's not all 13:13, it's 13, the whole thing through 13. Anyway, the quote that I looked up in the back in the concordance to make sure I could find exactly where it was said 13:13, but I kind of recognized it so I could figure out that this was the right one. Anyway, and this is what I decided on because we need to discern who's really loving other people rather than just like trusting in people. You know what I mean? If they don't behave like this, it's probably not a good person to follow. So you have an example. Some of the leaders of the world, you know the hint I'm giving you. Anyway, here it goes. And I won't have to go through. I won't have to quote any numbers because it's the whole chapter 13 here. If I could speak in any language in heaven or on earth, but I didn't love others, I would only be making meaningless noise like a loud gong or clanging cymbal. If I had the gift of prophecy, and if I knew all the mysteries of the future and knew everything about everything, but didn't love others, what good would I be? And if I had the gift of faith so that I could speak to a mountain and make it move, without love I would be no good to anybody. If I gave everything I have to the poor and even sacrificed my body, I could boast about it. But if I didn't love others, I would be of no value whatsoever. Love is patient and kind. Love is not jealous or boastful or proud or rude. Love does not demand its own way. Love is not irritable, and it keeps no record of when it has been wronged. It is never glad about injustice, but rejoices whenever the truth wins out. Love never gives up, never loses faith, is always hopeful, and endures through every circumstance. Love will last forever, but prophecy and speaking in unknown languages and special knowledge will all disappear. Now we only know a little, and even the gift of prophecy reveals little. But when the end comes, these special gifts will disappear. It's like this. When I was a child, I spoke and thought and reasoned as a child does. But when I grew up, I put away childish things. Now we see imperfectly as in a poor mirror, but then we will see everything with perfect clarity. All I know now is partial and incomplete, but then I will know everything completely, just as God knows me now. There are 3 things that will endure: faith, hope, and love, and the greatest of these is love. So yeah, we have some examples in leadership positions in our society that really don't sound like this. And they do sound a bit, well, toward the people who did not put away childish things and are holding other people accountable for what they want to hold them accountable for, and not remembering all the mercy and love quoted by the Bible, because we're all sinners. And that's why I had to make this message for you, because I wanted you to know we're not all Christians are not all like the ones you see in government, or who support this really tough stuff, tough punishments, tough love. Basically, we learn to forgive each other, and we have mercy on people who've done wrong if they try to make it right. Usually, sometimes we just have to forgive them for being foolish and move on with our lives too. It's the only forgiveness we can offer without reconciliation, isn't it? They'll find out someday, forgive them for being foolish. And really what you should do is show the love that they're talking about here, all the good things about the New Testament, like loving your neighbor despite the fact that they're a sinner, removing the log out of your own eye before you try to remove the splinter out of others. All that stuff. You gotta remember, you can't just keep on acting like you're superior when you know you're capable of doing wrong yourself. And so, I'm just trying to say, it's like, if these people aren't showing the love that they understand that people did wrong, and they can try to make plans that help them to make up for it, rather than throwing them into bad situations and maybe even getting them killed because they want some sort of vengeance on these people. And some of them just made the mistake of just wanting to live longer than some of the starving people in their countries. Anyway, there's a lot of things going wrong, and you got to keep in mind, if you truly love someone, you would not just throw them back where they came from until you really had tried your best to make it more habitable, hospitable for them living there. Because it's really wrong to be so wicked to people who just made the mistake of trying to save themselves, And we should really reach out in love to people and try to make it right. And just, I understand that people don't like them being around, but really, we're going to have to work on reaching out to these countries and trying to make them better, rather than being so rude and vengeful against people. We need to learn what love really is. And it's not self-love, it's loving everybody like you love yourself. I can think of some other things that we do wrong, like the first thing we gotta do is sue someone instead of trying to work it out peacefully, or we punish someone mercilessly to make them understand what's wrong, but we forgot that they're a fellow human being. There's a lot of examples of that, and we just handle it wrong instead of choosing the path of love, mercy, and forgiveness. We're sitting there punishing everybody like it's the correct thing to do, and not really sitting back and wondering, well, I did something wrong. Is there anything I can do to fix that? Things like that. And that's all I got to say about that. Hopefully the world gets better. Maybe they'll listen to this message. I don't know. We'll see you next time. Thank you for watching.